She fell hard on the polished diner floor. Plates smashed like thunder, steaming soup splattered across the tiles, and a sharp gasp escaped her lips as pain shot up her arm. The room went silent for a heartbeat, then came the laughter. Loud, cruel, echoing off the walls. Emma didn't move for a moment. The shock, the humiliation, the sting of the fall, it froze her in place. She could feel every pair of eyes on her, burning into her like a spotlight she never asked for. It was her first day. Her brand new apron still held the faint scent of detergent. Her shoes were a little too tight, her hair hastily tied in a ponytail, and her hands had been shaking long before she ever picked up that tray. But she had shown up with hope. Hope for a paycheck. Hope to help her sick mother at home. Hope to rebuild the life that fell apart when her father passed 3 months earlier. She needed this job. Desperately. And now here she was. On the floor, food everywhere, pride shattered like the plates beside her. The 3 young men who caused it didn't even pretend to feel bad. They stood near the booth, expensive jackets, polished shoes, styled hair like they came from money, or at least liked pretending they did. The kind of boys who never faced consequences. The kind who thought a uniform meant someone was beneath them. The ringleader leaned back against the vinyl seat, laughing cruelly. "Wow, seriously," he sneered. "Could you be any clumsier? Pathetic." His friend nudged him, trying and failing to stifle his laughter. "Told you she'd drop something today. Guess she passed the test." Emma swallowed back tears. Her throat burned, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. She tried to pick up the tray with trembling fingers. "Don't cry. Don't cry. Not here. Not today." Customers stared, some with pity, some with discomfort. Most looked away, pretending not to see, not wanting to get involved. People were funny like that, silent in the face of cruelty, loud only in gossip afterward. But not everyone looked away. There was a hum in the air, a subtle shift. In the corner of the diner, quiet, steady, unnoticed until now, sat 6 men in heavy leather jackets. Their presence had been easy to ignore at first. They had kept to themselves, talking in low voices, eating quietly. But now, every biker's gaze was locked on the scene. Their jackets bore bold patches, worn from sun, wind, and years on the road. Their boots were dusty, their knuckles scarred. Men who had seen life, not boys who pretended to own it. The leader, a tall man with a silver-streaked beard and the posture of someone who had lived enough for 3 lifetimes, set his coffee cup down with calm finality. The sound was soft, but it carried more weight than the bully's laughter. His companions exchanged glances. A silent conversation passed between them. A decision. And then they stood. Slow, controlled, deliberate. The kind of movement that didn't need shouting or threats to feel powerful. The room noticed. A few customers straightened in their seats. One waitress froze mid-pour with a coffee pot in hand. The bullies noticed too. The lead bully's grin faltered, then returned awkwardly as he tried to act unfazed. "Relax," he scoffed softly to his friends, though his voice wasn't as bold now. "They're just bikers." "Not just bikers," one of his friends whispered, suddenly pale. "Dude, look at their jackets." The bearded biker stopped beside Emma and knelt down, not to confront anyone yet, but to help her. He offered her his hand, a strong, steady, reassuring grip. "You all right?" he asked, voice low and warm, like calm thunder. Emma blinked, startled. Her voice wavered. I'm okay." It wasn't true, but saying otherwise felt like weakness. He helped her to her feet gently, as if she were made of porcelain. Another biker crouched and began collecting broken pieces of porcelain plate, setting them neatly aside. A third handed her clean napkins. The room was silent except for the soft clink of ceramic being gathered. Only then did the silver-bearded biker turn. His eyes locked on the young men. No anger, no shouting, just a level stare, the kind that held entire storms behind it. "You don't trip people," he said, voice calm but sharp enough to cut stone. "You don't humiliate workers." His eyes narrowed slightly. "And you don't bully in our presence." The bully swallowed. "Hard. Well, we were just joking." "Does she look like she's laughing?" the biker asked. No one spoke. Even the air felt still. "Apologize," the biker said simply. Not a demand filled with rage, not a threat, just a command, heavy and immovable. The bully's jaw clenched. Pride battled fear. Pride lost. "I'm sorry," he muttered. The biker raised a brow. "Louder!" His voice echoed like distant thunder. The boy flinched, then forced it out, voice cracking. "I'm sorry!" The diner exhaled. Energy shifted. Justice quietly delivered. Emma tried to protest. "You don't have to." The biker shook his head gently. "Don't let people like that break you." He reached into his pocket and placed a thick roll of bills into her trembling hands. She stared, stunned. "For your first day," he said, giving her a small smile. "Hard days happen, but you showed up. That matters." Emma's eyes filled, but this time not with shame, with gratitude, relief, something warm she hadn't felt in months. The bullies hurried out, not daring to look back. Outside, their fancy car suddenly seemed fragile next to the row of roaring machines waiting like steel giants. The bikers finished, cleaning, sat back down, and continued their coffee as if nothing extraordinary had happened. Emma wiped her cheeks and whispered softly, "Thank you." The biker leader lifted his cup slightly in acknowledgement. "Just keep going," he said. "You're stronger than you know." It was still her first day. Nothing about her circumstances had changed. She was still young, still struggling, still scared. But now she wasn't alone, and that made all the difference. Sometimes the world is cruel, but sometimes heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they wear leather, and they show up right when someone needs reminding. Emma thought the nightmare was over. She thought the bullies had been humbled and scared enough to never return. For the rest of the day, customers whispered about what happened, some in awe, some in guilt for not helping earlier. Every time she passed the table where the bikers sat, they gave her a small nod like quiet guardians. It made her feel safe, safer than she had felt in a long time. By evening, the diner slowly emptied. The sun dipped behind the mountains, throwing amber light through the windows. Emma cleaned tables, wiped counters, and tried to shake the tremor in her hands from earlier. The bell above, the door jingled, a sudden sharp sound that broke the calm. She froze. The same three. Guys walked back in, their arrogance replaced with anger. This time they weren't laughing. Their faces were tight red, burning with bruised ego. They scanned the room, saw Emma alone near the counter with the manager in the back, and one of them locked the door behind them with a soft click. Her stomach tightened. "What do you want?" she whispered. The leader stepped closer, leaning in. His tone wasn't loud, but it was poisonous. "You embarrassed us," he said. "You think you're special because some bikers took pity on you?" Emma stepped back. Her heart raced. "I didn't." "You made us look weak," he snapped. His friend scoffed. "Nobody humiliates us and walks away." The leader grabbed a glass from the counter and smashed it on the floor, shards flying. Emma flinched backward. "No bikers here now," he sneered. "No one to save you." His hand reached toward her arm. Rough, threatening. He didn't get the chance to touch her. A deep voice boomed from behind, like thunder rolling through the earth. "She doesn't need saving, but you three sure do." The boys turned and froze. The 6 bikers stood in the doorway, filling the entrance like a wall of leather and steel. They hadn't left. They had stayed outside, watching, waiting just in case trouble returned. Their leader stepped forward, removing his jacket slowly, not to fight, but to make sure the boys saw the scars, the muscle, the years of battles. "You had one chance to walk away," he growled. "You threw it away." One of the bullies tried to stammer. "Well, we were just—" "Don't talk," the biker interrupted. "Listen." They tried to look brave, but fear crawled across their faces like wildfire. "You think strength is picking on someone who's working to survive?" he asked, voice steady and terrifyingly calm. "You think toughness is humiliating someone who can't fight back?" He stepped closer. The boys instinctively stepped back. "That's not strength. That's cowardice." The leader grabbed a chair and sat down like it was a casual conversation. "Sit." It wasn't a suggestion. The three bullies sat quickly, almost tripping over each other. Their expensive jackets and cocky attitude looked small now, childish even, in front of men who had lived harder lives than they could imagine. One biker placed a glass of water in front of each bully. "Drink, you'll need your voice." The boys hesitated. Another biker leaned forward. "Drink." They drank. The leader folded his hands. "You boys have a choice." Silence thickened the air. "You can walk out of here and try to act like big men again. And someday you'll pick the wrong person." He pointed to a scar running down his arm. "When I was your age, I thought I was untouchable too. Lost a brother because of pride." His gaze hardened. "Or, you can start learning what real strength is." One bully tried to regain attitude. "We don't need lessons from—" A biker slammed his hand on the table. Not hitting them, just a single powerful gesture that made glasses jump. "Quiet," he growled. The room held its breath. The leader turned to Emma. "You still want them gone?" Emma looked at the boys, the same boys who laughed as she bled humiliation onto the floor hours earlier. Her hands shook, but she lifted her chin. "No," she said softly. "I want them to learn." Something shifted in the biker's eyes. Approval. The leader turned to the boys. "You heard her. So here's your lesson." He stood, towering over them. "You're going to say thank you to her." The boys blinked, confused. "Thank you?" one muttered. "Yes," the biker said. "For doing a job most people don't respect. For showing up even when life knocks you down. For having more courage than you ever had." The boys looked at Emma, really looked, maybe for the first time. They saw the tired eyes, the worry hidden behind forced smiles, the bruised elbow she tried to cover, the weight she carried. One of them swallowed hard. "Thank you," he whispered. Another followed. Then the third, not fake this time, raw, uneasy, real. The leader nodded. "Now get out. And remember, the world doesn't revolve around you." They stood and walked out, slower, smaller, stripped of arrogance. The bikers didn't touch them, didn't threaten, didn't roar their engines or chase them. They had done something far more dangerous. They taught them. As the door shut behind the bullies, Emma exhaled. It felt like a weight lifted, not just fear, but years of helplessness. The leader turned to her. "You okay?" She nodded. "Yes. Because of you." He shook his head softly. "No, because of you. You faced them twice today and didn't break." He reached into his pocket again. This time, not money, but a small silver patch embroidered with a simple phrase. "Respect." He placed it on the counter gently. "You earned this more than most men ever will." Emma stared at it. "Breath-catching," she whispered. "Why me?" The biker smiled, soft, fatherly, proud. "Because people like you keep this world running. People who show up, people who try, people who don't quit." He tipped his head. "And because real strength isn't loud, it's quiet, steady, like you." They walked toward the door. Before leaving, the leader paused and looked back one final time. "If anyone ever tries to take your dignity again," he said, "remember, you don't stand alone." The bell rang. The door closed. Emma stood in the quiet diner, patch in her hand, tears in her eyes. But this time, they were tears of pride. The world could be cruel, but it was also filled with unexpected protectors. And sometimes, the people who look roughest Have the gentlest hearts.